Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the Neca 1987 animated series line of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures, but more specifically Rex-1. Alright, so here's Rex-1 in his boxed glory, and as always, Neca does a fantastic job with their boxes. And while we look at the beautiful box art here, let's go ahead and run down some quick facts about Rex-1. Rex-1 is an acronym for Robot Enforcement Experiment. His first appearance was in the 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series, Season 2, Episode 10, New York's Shiniest, from December of 1988. A quick basically on that episode, April's apartment gets burglarized and the Turtles are trying to figure that out. Somehow she stumbles into this laboratory that has a robot that's kind of like a Frankenstein kind of situation, and turns out it's Rex-1. He has a Mama Duck situation where he thinks that April is his master, and somehow or another Shredder finds out about this, wants to get those plans, and eventually does, makes his own Rex-1s. They wreck the original Rex-1, so Donna Does Machines Tello has to rebuild him with whatever he's got in the lair, and uses old VHS tapes for his memory or something. And this is a thing to where it changes Rex's personality to where he's got all these movie quotes coming out of him and kind of like taking on their personas with his mannerisms. Kind of similar to how Bumblebee spoke and acted a little bit in the first Transformers live action movie, if I remember correctly. Unfortunately, he only shows up one more time in the series in Season 5, Episode 17, Leonardo the Renaissance Turtle, from October of 1991. And usually we don't focus on box art so much with some of the toys I open here on the channel, but again, Neca does a fantastic job, so you can't ignore it. And not only that, but with this cartoon line that they've been doing, they tend to tease certain characters or accessories that are going to come out in the future, and so you kind of have to like look it over to see if they're like dropping hints somewhere. And the only real hint that I can find is on the drawing on the back, where it looks like Rex-1 is breaking someone who looks like the Savage Dragon out of jail. That's actually a character called Mean Green Giant, who first appeared in Season 6, Episode 14, Polly Want a Pizza, from October 31st of 1992. And yeah, that's very obscure, and I would be very surprised if we get this character, but you know, they seem to be doing everybody, so that's really cool, and if that's your thing, there you go. So let's go ahead and ditch this box and get our hands on Rex-1. So my first thought of actually getting him out of the package was, what are those? I don't recall his feet being so big and prominent, but looking at the art in the show and the cartoon and everything, I mean, it's pretty accurate. I think that they're a little big because it has to counterbalance his broad chest and everything, so they had to, you know, make some adjustments there. They don't look bad, it's just I wasn't ready for how big his boots or whatever you want to call those were going to be. But once I got past that, I was just enamored with this figure. He just is so cool looking. And once again, Neca has brought a 2D character into 3D life, and I am just extremely happy to have this in my collection and in my hands finally. The 8-year-old in me probably hasn't stopped smiling since I got him. Like, I've got this sense of joy that's like permeating throughout like all my days. People are like, hey, you seem different. What's happening? And I'm like, well, let me tell you about my Lord and Savior Rex-1. And you know, that's the kind of feeling I got right now. And so forgive me if I'm gushing a little bit, but it feels good to be happy about something so pure and wholesome, I guess. So anyway, this figure stands at a little over 8.5 inches tall, and he's got an appropriate amount of heft to him as well. So that's always a good thing. As far as likeness goes, this is spot on in my opinion. The only thing that throws me off are, again, like I mentioned, how big his feet are at first. But now that I've spent some time with him, I've gotten used to him, and they're not as jarring as they were initially. The hard edges on the forearms and the biceps really help to give him that robotic look, as well as the hard-edged jaw. However, I absolutely do not like when you move the jaw down to reveal his little mouth slot. I don't like that at all. It looks like when you're used to seeing someone with a beard, but then they clean shave and look totally different and totally not cool. Like, uncool. Like the opposite of cool. But I always love a figure who has holsters for their weapons, and Rex-1's work surprisingly well. They do hinder the articulation a little bit, but I'd take the luxury of weapon placement over him being able to do Van Damme splits any day. The colors on him just work really well together, and he just pops. Like your eyes are just drawn to him. Although I do have some concerns with paint rub on this figure. Mine had some on his right side fresh out the box, and after switching hands and guns, the hands show a little bit of wear on the inside. And then I also ended up getting some paint rub where the top of his right knee meets his leg. And so that's a little disappointing, but you know, what are you going to do? Another thing I've experienced with mine is that almost all the hands that he's come with have been stuck at the joint. So I've had to get a hobby knife and kind of like pry it open a little bit. After that, they work fine, but you know, it's just another thing. So there you go. So let's talk about his accessories. He comes with 9 different hands, 1 oil soda, 2 guns, the gadget that controls him, 1 ticket to Tongue Town for Irma, and 3 VHS cassettes. Is that RoboCop? Oh no. Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh goodness. He's already watched RoboCop. And he's shooting everybody in the front tail. Oh geez. Oh goodness. We got to get Donnie and we got to get the turtles to fix this. Okay. Whew. Good. Goodness. Thank goodness. All right. So everything's good. Okay. Yeah. So be careful with those VHS tapes. Just bear that in mind, because not everything in those movies is and those VHS tapes. You don't want him watching everything. Anyway, let's move on to the articulation you're going to get out of Rex-1. So, starting with the head, he's got 360 at the neck joint. It's a little tight on mine. He's got a mouth piece that he looks very strange like that. He almost looks clean shaven, which is very strange. Prefer it up, but you can have that option if you need to. And yeah, let's see. Oh, he can look up a little bit. I mean, for the figure, it works pretty well. But the back of the neck does hinder, or back of his hairpiece, I should say, does hinder the upward-looking articulation. He's got some pec articulation, oddly enough, which, you know, those go up. If you need to do that. At the shoulder, you got 360. You have a bicep at the bicep swivel at the bicep. You've got what appears to be single-jointed elbows, and you've got wrist swivel as well as a hinge, I believe. Yeah, there it is. It's kind of tight still on mine, but let's see if I can get this out and you can see it. So yeah, you can, I don't know how well that's showing up, but yeah, right there. So I got to get these loose still, but you definitely have the option to swivel and have the hinge joint on the hands there. There it goes. Some of the paint's getting stuck. There we go. Now I got it. So probably should have done that before I did the video, but hey, you know what? Here we are. So there's that. He's got some rocking motion in his chest, so he can turn a little bit, but not too much left and right. At the chest, I don't believe he has any, yeah, because mine's really tight. So I don't think he can swivel. And yeah, but you can get a little bit back and forth there. Let's see, his legs are hindered by the gun holster circle disc things, whatever they are, a little bit, but he can go out pretty far with these legs. They can wiggle back and forth a little bit on the ball joint, but not too much. He's got single jointed knees, and then the feet are on a hinge, but also they have a swivel as well, so you can help to balance him with that. And yeah, I believe that is all the articulation. Oh, let me show you real quick his forward kick. I always forgot about that. His forward kicks, it's okay. And his back kick, well, mine feels like it's going to break if I push it any further back, so he doesn't really get a lot of backward kicking motion. But then again, I don't know that Rex-1 would need it. But no, nevertheless, there you go. There is all the articulation you're getting out of this Rex-1 figure. Alright, well now let's see how he compares to some other figures you might have in your collection. Alright, so here he is with the NECA Mirage Comics knockoff Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the colored bandanas. Here he is with the 1987 animated series Turtles from NECA. Here he is with the DC Collectibles Batman TMNT Turtles. Here he is with Figma's Zelda and SH Figuarts Chun-Li. Here he is with Jazzware's Beef Boss and DC Multiverse Corrupted Superman. Here he is with McFarlane's Cygor and DC Multiverse's Killer Croc. Here he is with Masters of the Universe Classics Optic and Marvel Legends The Orb. And here he is with some other boys in blue, the Power Rangers Lightning Blue Centurion and SH Figuarts Masked Rider G3X. And here he is next to DC Universe Classics Connect and Collect Metallo figure and Super 7's Metalhead. I've been a huge fan of Rex-1 since Season 2, Episode 10, New York's shiniest of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1987 animated series aired on December of 1988. I thought this dude was awesome. I mean, he was a winning combination, especially in the 80s, of police officer and robot. You can't lose. That's just really cool. That's just rad. And I don't know. He was massive and had all the movie quotes. I was in love with Rex-1. I could not get enough. And unfortunately, he only had 2 appearances in the animated series. Of course he did. But now that he's made his forever appearance on my shelf, I couldn't be happier. NECA has once again brought one of my most favorite characters, not only just in this series, but of all cartoons. Like, every cartoon I've ever watched, Rex-1 is still, like, probably, well, I've watched a lot of cartoons, so probably top 10 at the very least. But in this series, he's definitely top 5. And they did not disappoint. I am overjoyed with how awesome he looks. And he looks like he just walked out of my dreams, got into my car, and is now here, sitting next to me, and just, I don't know. I'm just, sorry again, I'm gushing over him. But I feel like I'm Irma in this situation, but, you know, she ain't wrong. All of his accessories are fantastic. The tapes, the hands, all of that's really cool. But if NECA did not include his tongue, I was going to be writing an email. Because that is essential. And if you haven't watched his episodes, do yourself a favor, go watch them. They're pretty funny. And if you want to hear me gush even more about him, you can find the episode of my podcast where we talk about those episodes. Because we on Turtle Soup absolutely love Rex-1. And again, if you couldn't tell, I love this figure. He's got enough of a generic appearance, like a robot appearance, to where you might be able to make him work with some other lines of action figures that you have, but your mileage may vary with that. However, he looks fantastic with the rest of the Turtles and the other figures from NECA's animated series line. However, posing him with the other figures from this line, especially Irma, made me realize that she needs an accessory pack with a different expression head, because, I mean, you can't have her just looking like a very just like default face when she's with Rex-1 and that tongue, you know what I'm saying? The only concern I really have is the paint getting chipped or like rubbed off in some areas, and that's probably due mostly to the way that these figures for this line have that aesthetic that makes them look from the animated series, and it's like a softer kind of paint, at least from my limited understanding of what goes into making action figures. Because I don't necessarily have that concern for Zog, let's say, from the comics line. But nevertheless, that's not really an indictment on the figure itself. That's just you got to be careful with your adult collectible. And so, I mean, I guess that the responsibility is on me. And I gladly take that responsibility. You know what? I'll do my due diligence to treat Rex-1 the way he deserves to be treated. And so, all that being said, If you're a fan of robots, if you're a fan of RoboCops, or just men in uniform, I don't think you can go wrong with Rex-1. And if you're a pilgrim looking to make someone's day, then Rex-1 is waiting for you. Alright, well that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please hit that like button, and if you want to see more from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And if you want to hear more from me for some reason, my friend Ryan and I do a podcast on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles called Turtle Soup. We do that here on YouTube as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts, and we've been doing it for a while. We do it at least once a month, usually twice a month. And yeah, if you would like and subscribe wherever you listen or watch, that would mean a lot. And let us know in the comments below here if I missed anything about Rex-1, anything I got loud and wrong about Rex-1, and anything you want to talk about Rex-1 related. I am always willing to talk about Rex-1. So until then, Elsetime.